the dishwasher in the background, but we did a little bit of damage in the garden centre yesterday. It actually doesn't even look like hardly anything, but this is about £250 worth of flowers, plants, things for these flower beds basically. Good morning everyone. Ignore all of the noises that are going on in the background. That's the washing machine. I've got the dishwasher on the go. Alma is down for a nap once again. I feel like every time I'll be speaking to you she will be down for a nap probably, because she's not a handful, she's just a typical 10-month-old that is into everything. She's absolutely loving Nelson's food and water bowls that are just down here. She did actually have some of his dry like dog food in her mouth the other day, so that's been fun, trying to keep her away from that. Yeah, she is just into everything at the moment, so it's very difficult to multitask. But yeah, she is currently down for a nap, and I thought I would just show you some of the bits that we did get from the garden centre. So gardening is something that I would actually really like to get into, but I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue about anything. I don't know what anything is, what it's called, what to do with it. So these like flower beds are going to be quite a lot of trial and error, but I do have a little bit of an idea in my mind of how I want them to look. I want them to look quite like, I suppose quite wild, like wildflower sort of vibes, but not like overgrown. I just don't want things to be really prim and proper. I want them to be quite like bushy, I suppose. And obviously at the moment, all of these things are very small. So these are the lavender. This is the conifers here. I just actually quite like the different colour of that. So we got these ones that look nice, the sort of like blue and purple, and then these are the nice geraniums, they look pretty, salvias, and then two colours of rhododendrons. Louis picked these up literally just as we were leaving because he liked the colour of them, so not really sure what they are, but they are a nice colour. These are the hydrangeas, so these ones should be pink. And then this one that I literally just got because it was pretty. I like anything like dainty. These little dainty flowers are just adorable. And then these are our nice big daisies. So yeah, we have got lots and lots of planting that we need to do. Louis currently out and I don't really want to start doing anything without him because I don't have a clue what I'm doing. And I've only got limited time before she wakes up, and I'm not going to be able to do any gardening once she is awake. So yeah, we'll have to try and actually like arrange some gardening time to get things planted and just kind of stand back, have a look, see how it looks, and we might need to buy more. Obviously I don't have a clue how big these things are going to grow. I don't want to plant them as they are and then go and buy more because it's looking empty, because obviously all of these things are going to double in size at least. So yeah, it's just going to be a little bit of trial and error, but I am really happy with what we've bought and I do feel really excited to get it in the bed, see how it looks. We've been blessed with quite a few nice days over the past like couple of weeks, but I think that is literally coming to an end. I looked at my weather app this morning and it literally says rain for the next like 10 days straight. So I think we've just had a tiny little snippet of like spring and that has just been taken away from us, and it's just going to be horrible for the next couple of weeks. So that's a bit of a shame, but yeah, I will keep you updated with how the beds come along. Good morning everyone. It is now a few days later and I am actually baby free. Alma is at nursery today. She's been at nursery probably for around about 6 weeks now, and she's settled in absolutely perfectly. She's such a little dream baby. She is just so happy, and yeah, she's just an absolute pleasure. But I am really lucky that I get the school holidays off, but because Alma is kind of like in the first 6 weeks of being at nursery, she has settled really well, but I kind of didn't want to fully take her out for like the whole half term while I'm off, just to keep a little bit of like consistency and stuff. So I have put her in 1 day a week just to, yeah, keep it familiar, I suppose. So that basically means that I have a baby free day. I am doing some work today, but I'm also just going to spend a little bit of time to myself, I suppose. Obviously there's so much that needs doing. I feel like there's so much that I need to do and want to do that I end up just kind of procrastinating and not doing any of it because there's just, I don't know where to start. So I'm thinking I am gonna nip to B&Q and get some plant pots. I'll try and explain what I mean and what I'm going to use these plant pots for. We have a friend who is a very keen gardener. She has an allotment, she grows things, so we ran straight to her when we needed a little bit of advice for these flower beds. We've spent a lot of money on all of these gorgeous flowers and we obviously want to make sure that we're giving them the best chance from the beginning. Things might go wrong, but if we've got someone there that we can ask, of course we're going to do that. So she basically recommended filling the beds with not just soil, but almost filling them with other things, bits of like pot or brick or stone or actual pots, just plastic pots, basically to just pad the beds out a little bit instead of buying loads and loads of soil. We are going to need a lot of soil to fill these beds. I think we've got some, but I don't think it's going to be enough. So I think I'm going to nip to B&Q to get just some cheap plastic pots to put in the beds and then fill the soil around the pots basically. I will obviously show you us actually doing this when we get a spare minute. I might try and do some today just with me being baby free. Garden jobs is something that you can't do with a baby. We either have to do it when she naps or one of us has to just do it and the other one obviously have the baby. So yeah, I might try and do some today while I'm baby free, but it's not a very nice day at all and there's very dark clouds everywhere, so I think it's pretty much just going to be on and off rain all day today. I have also got see Helma's horse in the background there. She absolutely loves that horse. But yeah, I've got some samples coming, which is really exciting. I might show you a little sneak peek. Well, it's not a sneak peek really, it's just the mood board that I'm working on for the bathroom upstairs, the main bathroom. We're not in the position where we're actually doing the bathroom quite yet, but we are hoping potentially towards the end of this year, we might be able to crack on with some jobs around the house, some of the bigger jobs, because upstairs does need quite a bit of actual like building work, messy work. Walls need knocking down, rooms need plastering. Yeah, we've still got a lot to do upstairs, so I'm just trying to sort of finalise some plans for the bathroom, because a big tip from me if you are doing a renovation or even just a bit of a revamp, if you are just getting a new bathroom, a new kitchen, redecorating, anything like that, I would genuinely start thinking about things months, if not years in advance, and really sit on some of your decisions, because I've kind of been forced to do that a lot with this house, because it's a big renovation and we know that these things are going to get done eventually, but we are in a position where we do have to wait years before we can do things. But that has really meant that there's certain things or certain decisions that I've made, and I've maybe done mood boards and in the moment been really happy with it and thought, yeah, they're definitely the tiles that I want to go for or the flooring that I want to go for, and then months and months pass and I've come back to look at it and I've actually thought, you know what, maybe that's not quite right, or there's certain things that I am still 100% yeah that I love, and I feel a lot more confident making those finalised decisions, because there's certain things that I loved a year ago, 2 years ago, and I still love today, and I feel like that solidifies the fact that that is the right decision. But then there's other things that I maybe think, you know what, that's not quite right, and I've had the time to, I suppose, sort of change my mind in some ways. But yeah, I do always think that giving yourself time with these things, even though it's difficult because you decide you're going to do a project, you get really excited, you choose what you want and you just want it doing. I am like that. But like I say, because we physically can't do that, it forces me to actually revisit certain plans, certain mood boards, certain design choices that I've made and just tweak them here and there. So that's what I've been doing with the upstairs bathroom, and I have actually made some changes, I suppose, changed my mind just on a few things. So I've got some tile samples arriving, hopefully in the next few days. I was just about to leave to head to B&Q, but I think I might have come up with a bit of a solution. So this is what I was talking about earlier, about putting some plant pots inside our like raised flower beds, but just upside down like this. So it basically just creates a little bit of like an air pocket, and then we'll obviously just cover this with soil, but it will just save us a little bit of soil. Basically it'll just mean that we need a little bit less soil. So these little plastic pots we already had, I've just found them down the side of the house, and I feel like they're probably the perfect size. I don't want to put anything too big in here because it probably will affect how big the plants grow. So yeah, I feel like these are probably around about the right size, so then we can fill this planter with soil around these pots and then plant. Obviously you can see here we've got like double of everything because both flower beds either side will be like symmetrical. So we can take these out of their pots and plant one of all of these in here, and then obviously just use the pots that these are in. Once they're planted into here, we'll have empty pots that we can then put in this flower bed upside down, like what we've done in here, and basically that'll just save us a little bit of money because I was just heading to B&Q just to buy the cheapest plastic pots that I could, but I feel like this might have actually solved that problem. So yeah, I'm gonna give that a go. I might even try and do some of this now. It is absolutely freezing. We've got soil over here, so yeah, we should be ready to go. I do need to put some of these flowers, possibly the hydrangeas and the rhododendrons, need to go in, I think, in their own pots inside here filled with different soil. Yeah, that's a whole other situation, but this is how these flower beds are looking at the moment. So change of plan, I did end up going to B&Q, but I didn't get any pots to go like inside the flower beds like I've just showed you. We already had some down the side of the house, so I just got these pots from B&Q. Ignore all of the mess on the dining table. I got some gloves as well, but I just got 8 of these pots because we are going to have to plant some of the things that we got into their own pots, because we have got some rhododendrons and some conifers and potentially the hydrangeas that need the ericaceous soil. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody has any tips or can enlighten me on all of this, then please do leave some comments below, because I have never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is all just stuff that has been Googled and like people that we've spoken to in garden centres and things like that. So as far as I'm aware, what we're best off doing, especially with the rhododendrons for example, is putting them, like planting them in the pot and then putting this pot in the flower beds and then just sort of like covering it with soil, disguising it, so you won't actually see this pot. This pot will be underneath the soil, but the rhododendron will be planted in here in the ericaceous soil, so it's getting the right soil. I've done an hour of gardening. What I've done so far is put the rhododendrons in 2 pots with the ericaceous soil. So they're white ones, they're the purple ones. The conifers, I don't really think it matters whether it's normal or ericaceous soil, so I haven't done anything with them. I need to decide what I want to do with the hydrangeas because I can't decide whether I want them pink or blue, and that depends what soil I put them in. Kind of feel like I'm leaning more towards pink, but I'm not 100% sure, so I haven't done anything with those yet. And then I've just tipped a whole bag of just normal compost into here. That's how much one bag has filled. We've got another 3 bags over there, but I haven't done anything with that yet, so yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I need to decide with the hydrangeas, and then I also need to decide what order I want to plant things in. I kind of feel like I want to start with the biggest things on the outside here. I'm thinking maybe hydrangea, but then kind of alternate. We've got some things here that are evergreen, so I want to alternate the evergreen things so that they're not kind of all in one section and the rest of the flower beds just like die off in the winter. I want it to be like evenly spaced out, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just need to have a little bit of a think. I also want to space out like colour wise. It'd be nice to have sort of like pink, white, purple, that kind of thing. So yeah, let me know if you've got any ideas or any tips or anything, but that's where I've got to today. This is what we've ended up with. This is how the flower beds are looking. So I ended up doing hydrangea on the end, which I did plant in its own pot in the ericaceous soil, so that should turn blue. Louis liked the idea of the hydrangeas being blue, so I thought we'll give it a go. It's in its own pot, so I can technically like take the pot out and replant the hydrangea in normal soil if we decide to change it. But yeah, hopefully they'll go blue. And then we've got this next to the hydrangea. I think this is possibly an evergreen one. This is the white rhododendron here, and then this one is the salvias. This is lavender, daisies and lavender on the other side. This one is the geranium, and then we've got the purple rhododendron, the conifer here, and then this big like wispy one. I'm not actually sure what this one is called, but yeah, we decided to go with this order. Obviously everything will grow. I have no idea how big things will grow. Some of these are obviously planted in their own pots. The rhododendrons and the hydrangeas are in their own pots, so that will probably limit the size that they'll grow to. But yeah, I'm really happy with how they're both looking. Obviously both beds are the same either side, they're both symmetrical, so yeah, hopefully everything will continue to grow nicely, and fingers crossed nothing dies.